What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home? A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando. It's now time to look at your top stories for tonight.
Sri Lanka to vaccinate 15 million people by the end of December. Plans afoot to vaccinate children above the age of 12. 213.48 billion rupees printed by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka on the 27th of July, the record highest money printed in a single day this year. Remains of domestic aid Ishalini to be exhumed tomorrow, post-mortem at the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital. Supreme Court concludes examination of petitions against Finance Amendment Bill. Former President commences reorganizing the Sri Lanka Freedom Party from the ground up. China holds talks with Taliban after US forces leave Afghanistan.
First up in news here at home, the newly established Presidential Media Center was declared open today. The event was presided over by the senior advisor to the President, Lalith Weerathunga. The Media Center is located at the ground floor of the old Chartered Bank building opposite the President's house in Colombo Fort. The Presidential Media Center aims to provide accurate and efficient information to the media and the public on the progress of the implementation of programs to fulfill the pledges made to the people in the policy statement, Vistas of Prosperity and Splendor. During this weekly media briefing, journalists will be afforded the opportunity to pose questions directly or online from the President's spokesman and government officials on selected topics. The Media Center is equipped with a number of facilities and can host up to 40 journalists at a time. Information released by the President and the Presidential Secretariat will be swiftly relayed to you through this. This can be considered the beginning of a journey we can embark on together. There may be pitfalls because we are still not accustomed to this model. Let us all band together to support this. We intend to promote a virtuous media ethos through this and to disseminate accurate information from us to you and vice versa. Pursuant to the opening of the Presidential Media Center, Senior Advisor to the President, Lalith Weerathunga, elaborated on the vaccination drive in the country today. Our first aim is to vaccinate those above the age of 30 years, which is a total of 11.5 million people. We intend to meet that target by the end of August. The next target is to vaccinate those between the ages of 12 and 30. That will be done in two phases. The first phase is a group between 18 and 30 years of age, and the other is to 12 to 18 years who are school children. When you accumulate the 11.5 and the 4 million, 15 million of the total population will be vaccinated by December this year. That is our plan. By around the 15th of September, we hope to complete inoculating all those above the age of 30. We would have to conduct a consensus in another 2 months or so through Gaman Iladaris to assess those who have not been vaccinated. Therefore, we need to advise them to get themselves vaccinated. The COVID-19 progress meeting and the discussions of vaccinations are conducted jointly. This will be discussed tomorrow to decide whether vaccinations will be made mandatory or certain restrictions would be imposed. That is a practical aspect of it. Meanwhile, 66 COVID-19 deaths were confirmed for Wednesday, the 28th of July. Let's now take a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
Sri Lanka recorded 1,850 new COVID-19 cases today. Accordingly, the country's total tally of infections has risen to 304,202. 1,641 people have recovered from the virus, raising the total number of recoveries to 273,496.
A warning by the Government Medical Officers Association.
10% of the infected cases are of the Delta variant. The situation portrayed by the data is dangerous. The beds are full at the National Hospital. At the same time, we can observe that the rate of fully vaccinated healthcare personnel contracting the virus has increased. This is the situation that we saw in India as well. The situation wasn't dangerous in India for 4 months, but COVID-19 cases doubled and tripled suddenly. We believe that we must brace for such a situation. Regardless of whatever the political authorities say or people say, the country will enter into an automatic lockdown due to the variant.
Former Health Minister's stance on the situation.
There is no point of strengthening the health sector if the decisions are made on a political level. The number of cases at the National Hospital rose to 345 yesterday. ICUs are full as well. This is a pathetic situation. The actual number of COVID-19 cases in the country is 3 or 5 times more than the data released by the government. Therefore, the 4th COVID-19 wave is already in the country, although they say it may occur in the future.
Health Ministry's warning on the status quo.
The total number of daily COVID-19 cases that stood at 1,400 recently increased up to 1,900 yesterday. We cannot take this lightly. We must act cautiously because if these daily figures reach 2,000 or 2,500 in the coming days, we will have to face a situation that we faced in May.
Health authorities urge the public to get vaccinated.
75% of the infected cases are those who have not obtained the vaccine. Only 3% of the cases are of people who have obtained both doses of the vaccine. We have observed that a small group that is less than 1% of the population does not obtain vaccines, although there are sufficient facilities. There is a massive risk that you may become infected as a result of not obtaining the vaccine. Therefore, we would like to request you to obtain the vaccines that are given to you.
What is the status of administering the second dose of the ASTRAZENECA jab?
Nearly 540,000 people who received the first dose of the AstraZeneca jab are now awaiting its second dose. We expect to receive 740,000 doses from Japan next Saturday. We hope to provide the vaccines to these people from this batch. We have made arrangements to provide the second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine within 5 days of receiving the consignment.
Back in news here at home, former President Maithripala Sirisena has launched a new program to strengthen the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. A series of seminars were organized under this program, which began in the Galle district today.
Senior Sri Lanka Freedom Party members were present during the seminar held under the patronage of their chairman, former President Maithripala Sirisena. A group including electoral organizers of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party in the Galle district were present during the event. The former president responded to queries raised by journalists on the occasion. Several party members have shown great enthusiasm in strengthening the Sri Lanka Freedom Party from the grassroots. They haven't raised matters on whether we must contest the election separately or otherwise. A committee has been appointed over this. We have asked the committee to provide its recommendations by next Tuesday. After that, we will decide on how we must resolve this matter. I don't believe that such a situation would arise. That is because we don't know the nature of the decisions made by the Attorney General's Department or the judiciary. Those are independent institutions. Therefore, it is better to avoid commenting on that. It is not apt to discuss court cases before the media.
Protests were staged in several areas demanding a solution to the salary anomalies of teachers and principals.
The protesters marched from the Mayurapada grounds in Mavanala to the Mavanala town. protest was staged in the Wellavaya town today. The protesters marched from Kumaradasa Mawatha in Wellavaya to the main bus stand in the area.
The strike has entered its 18th day. However, the government has not been able to provide a feasible solution to this yet. Therefore, we wish to ask whether the government doesn't have funds only to resolve the salary anomalies of teachers and principals. The government is continuing to waste funds. The time that is being wasted is that of the children. The children's time is being wasted. Their education is being destroyed. The government, which is wasting time, must bear responsibility for this. Ministers are preparing cabinet papers and trying to provide temporary solutions to teachers. The era in which teachers were deceived by such solutions is over. We will increase our trade union action if our salary anomalies are not resolved.
Meanwhile, the Cabinet Subcommittee appointed to study the salary anomalies of teachers and principals met at the Trade Ministry today.
All these protests and gatherings of crowds have been organized by violating the current health regulations in the country. These protests will push our society into a menace. First of all, we need a country so that the workers can win their rights. Therefore, they should reconsider whether this is the most appropriate time to launch such trade union actions. Trade unions have the right to express their ideas. They also have the right to stand against any injustice. Although someone may be doing this to benefit their hidden agendas, by presuming that they are facing injustices, it is the ordinary people of this country who will face the brunt of such moves. We agree with all their demands on a policy basis. However, we should not forget that ultimately it is the children of the country who will become the scapegoats of such activities. Demonstrations opposing the Kothalawala National Defence University Bill are also being staged island-wide. The Joint Centre to oppose the KNDU bill had organised a protest in Kurunegala this evening. We converged at the Kurunegala town today to urge the government to withdraw this bill which threatens to militarize and convert education into a fee-living sector. If Saitam was a child, the KNDU bill is a labour room. Many children can be produced there. Many more institutions like Saitam could emerge across the country. Do not murder free education. Withdraw this bill. Another protest opposing the Sir John Kothalawala National Defence University Bill was held in Badulla this evening. The examination of petitions filed against the Finance Amendment Bill that aims at disclosing previously undisclosed assets concluded this afternoon. The Supreme Court bench that heard the petitions announced that its determination on the bill will be delivered to the Speaker of Parliament. Supreme Court Justices Priyantha Jayawardena, Kumudini Wickramasinghe and Shiran Gunaratne ordered the respective parties to file written objections before 12 noon on the 2nd of August. Senior State Counsel Nirmalan Vigneshwaran, appearing for the Attorney General, informed the Supreme Court that the proposed Finance Amendment Bill is aimed to place a net on the rich and powerful who have failed to pay their dues to the state and not for any other reason as alleged. He also noted that the bill paves the way to disclose concealed assets and relaxed several regulations included in 2 acts, including the Inland Revenue Act, and that it poses no harm to the exclusive provisions in the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. In addition, the Attorney General's Department also submitted to the Supreme Court a document listing the amendments that would be included in the proposed Finance Amendment Bill.
Is there a shortage of gas in the market? This Newsfirst report sheds light on the matter.
Laughs Gas holds a 30% share in the gas cylinder market of the country. The company has said it has been unable to import gas as they were not allowed to increase prices in line with the price hike in the world market. In the past, we requested the Consumer Affairs Authority to permit a justifiable increase in gas prices. However, they did not permit an increase in prices. Taking that situation into account, we were unable to open letters of credit to import gas. Therefore, gas imports have been reduced. That is the main reason for the shortage in the market.
ගෑස් ආනයනය අඩු වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේක තමයි වෙළඳ පොලේ හිඟයක් ඇති වීමට තියෙන ප්‍රධානම හේතුව.
තනිකර තියෙන්නේ දැන් empty.
These are Love's gas cylinders, but they are empty now. The consumers ask us for the products, but we don't have stocks. We are not supplying to hotels as well. They don't answer our calls or respond to us. Our sales have halted. We have not been receiving gas cylinders for the last 3 or 4 months. We have not received anything in the last 3 weeks. That has become a problem. People visit our stores, but we don't have goods. We are speechless before the customers. We haven't been distributing gas during the last 3 weeks. This is a loss for us. We have already allocated funds for cylinders. The other thing is that people are visiting several stores throughout the day in search of gas. The company and the government have not spoken about this.
ලාබ් ගෑස් පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. දැන් සතියක් තිස්සේම ගෑස් නැහැ. දැන් ඒ යනවා එනවා ගෑස් ගේන්න බලන්න යනවා නැහැ ගෑස්. සතිය දවසක් වගේ.
We have been receiving gas only once in 2 weeks. We haven't received cylinders in the last few days. People are running around with their cylinders. The government has said that Litrogas Lanka Limited is ready to provide Litrogas cylinders for people who have been affected due to the lack of Love's cylinders. Recently, Litrogas Lanka chairman Tesharaja Singh has said that the company is ready to cover the shortage as Love's has stopped the importation of gas. In a statement, the Litrogas chairman noted that the company will supply gas to cylinders of any color or brand. We discussed this matter during a meeting yesterday. The chairman of Litrogas said that they would not cover this shortage. There is a legal impediment to that. When there is a healthy competition in the market, the law prohibits a company from using the name of another entity. These are our cylinders. If the gas that is filled in them causes an explosion, then we can't bear responsibility for it. Therefore, I believe that such a proposal has not been discussed yet.
ඊමක් බාර ගන්න. ඉතින් මේ තත්ත්වය මම හිතන්නේ තාම එවැනි එකඟතාවයකට හෝ යෝජනාවකට සාකච්ඡා වෙලා නැහැ.
මම කාරණක ඉල්ලීමක් කරන්නේ ඔබතුමා අහන ඕන එකකට උත්තරයක් දෙන්න. අපි ඔබතුමාලා අහන සියලුම ප්‍රශ්න.
I will respond to any question that you raise. I have responded to all questions that you have raised so far. Today, many people are speaking about the rise in the cost of domestic electric appliances. Those prices have been reduced now. I shall convene a media briefing at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We can then discuss the prices of rice and gas.
හෙට 10ට ආයි ප්‍රතිසාකච්ඡාවක් යනවා. එතකොට ඒකෙදි ගෑස් මිල, හාල් මිල, සීනි මිල, බඩු මිල ගැන සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ඔබතුමාලා කතා කරන්න.
Meanwhile, those residing in the environs of the Mattala airport have revealed of plans underway by the authorities to evict residents of 5 villages in the lower Mattala area.
A group of area residents have met in Siribaragama after receiving information that the Urban Development Authority is planning to evict residents of the Siribaragama, Siat Lankagama, Atrajagama, Yasaisrugama and Sirisumanasamangama villages, which were declared open by Sajid Premadasa during the tenure of the previous government.
There are many lands that can be used in this area. We only ask them not to take over our 20 perch land and grant us the right for us to live in Lower Mattala. The ancestors of those living here have lived in the same area. We kindly request all government officials to avoid taking this land away from them.
A group including parliamentarian Dilip Vedarachi of the Samagi Jana Balavegya arrived at the location. Area residents requested the minister to resolve the matter and shield them from being evicted.
During the district committee meeting held today, Upul Galapatti along with the Rajapaksa regime have decided to take away these 5 lands and put those residing there to the streets. Therefore, we make a strong request from the current president and the prime minister to revoke this decision.
Parliamentarian Dilip Vedarachi inquired about this from the chairman of the Hambantota District Development Committee, Upul Galapatti.
ඔබතුමා හම්බෙන්න ගියාම කියලා දින උනට ගන්නවයි කියලා.
ඔබතුමා ගන්නවයි කියලා තියෙන කම්පැනි කියපු කට්ටිය. මේ මෙතන ඉන්න කට්ටිය.
නෑ ගන්නවයි කියලා කතාව නෙවෙයි ගත්තත් හොඳ තැනක් දීලා තමයි ගන්නවයි කියලා කිව්වා.
ගත්තත් හොඳ යන්නේ.
ගන්න තීරණයක් නැහැ තාම.
ඒ තීරණ හරි. තීරණයක් આવත් මේක වෙනස් කරන දිස්ත්‍රික් කමිටු සභාපතිතුමා ඔබතුමානේ මේ අම්බතොට දිස්ත්‍රික්කයේ ජනතාවගේ මේ අපේ නායකතුමා හදලා දුන්න ගෙවල් 80 ගාන වැඩිපුර 75 චන් දුන්නේ මොහොට්ටුවට. ඉතින් අපිට පස්සේ යන්න ඒක. අපි මේ ආයෙත් පොඩ බලලා යන්න. ඒක නිසා මේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ අයිතිවාසිකම් නැතික මම ගෝවයි මමත් නෑ කියන පැත්තට. ඔව් ආවිල්ලා බලලා කතා කරලා යන්නකෝ. එතකොට වඩා හොඳයි මේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ බයක් කරලා තියෙනවා දුර වෙලා යන්නේ.
When News First inquired on the matter from the chairman of the Hambantota District Development Committee, Nihal Kalapati, he said a decision on the matter has not been reached as of yet.
The second phase of the reconstructed Kunugahavawa model village in Kabitigol was vested with the people today and was presided over by the Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs, Namal Rajapaksa.
The Sri Lanka Air Force took up the task of reconstructing the Kunugahavawa village based on a request by the President after the residents of the area made known their woes to the President during a discussion with the village forum which was held on the 30th of December last year in Kabitigol. A newly constructed building at the Kunugahavawa Primary School was vested with the people today along with 12 new homes to homeless families in the area. Air Force Commander Air Marshal Sudarshana Patrina was also present at the occasion.
Up next is Crime Watch.
Court has ordered for the exhumed body of the 16-year-old Jude Kumar Ishalini to be moved to the Peradeniya Teaching Hospital under armed guard for the second post-mortem to be carried out. The order was made by Nuwara Magistrate Lushaka Kumari Dharmakirti. The magistrate also ordered Sri Lanka Police to ensure that the body is exhumed at 8:30 a.m. on Friday in accordance with COVID-19 guidelines. She made the order after considering the submissions made by State Counsel Hansa Beratna via a B report to the court. Assistant Director of the Colombo Crimes Division Neville De Silva and the OIC of the Children and Women's Bureau were also present in court. Recently, the Colombo Magistrates Court ordered for the body to be exhumed and for a second post-mortem to be carried out. A 3-member panel of experts was appointed on Wednesday, the 28th of July, to conduct the second post-mortem. Detectives investigating the sexual exploitation of a 15-year-old girl from Mount Lavinia told the Colombo Additional Magistrate that the chief suspect in the scandal was linked to drug trafficking and generated money through illegal means. Investigations are being carried out by the Police Children and Women's Bureau, and detectives told Colombo Additional Magistrate Lochana Abe Vikrama that the Criminal Investigations Department and the Police Narcotics Bureau also commenced investigation on the latest developments. The victim in the Mount Lavinia child sex trafficking case was exploited on multiple occasions by several individuals after advertisements were published online. According to the detectives, the victim was forced to undress and the perpetrators had recorded footage and uploaded online to be sold to various individuals. Detectives from the Police Children and Women's Bureau told the Additional Magistrate that statements were recorded from 3 people who had subscribed to obtain such content. Investigations revealed the duration to view the pornographic content is determined on the price paid by the buyer and a sum of 5,000 to 8,000 rupees charged for a viewing between 5 to 10 minutes. The Additional Magistrate told in open court that the victim was not treated a prostitute on any occasion and questioned the detectives if there were more people at large who had exploited the victim by paying money to the traffickers. Detectives from the Police Children and Women Bureau told the court that there is a large number of people who are to be arrested and investigations will take place based on a telecommunication analysis.
Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa has stressed that all entities must unite to curb the threats faced by women and children. This was during a meeting of the Samagi Vanitha Balavegya.
Ishalani Jude Kumar Dariyage e miyayamat samaga yana.
Following the demise of Ishalini Jude Kumar and the details that came to light afterwards, a broad discourse has arisen on the safety of children and women in this country. I wish to remind that this is not something new. The rights of children and women and their protection have been deteriorating for some time, especially during the last 1.5 years. The Samagi Jana Balawegya wishes to clearly state that a clean investigation, rid of any interference, must be carried out into the death of Ishalini Jude Kumar. We will provide our support to impose the maximum possible punishment within the legal framework on those responsible. From this point onwards, the relevant laws must be passed to strengthen the rights of children and women to protect that. This is the responsibility of all of us, including the government.
නීතිය තුල ලබා දිය හැකි උපරිම දඬුව ලබා දීමට අපි අපගේ සහයෝගයත් ලබා දෙනවා. එපමණක් නොව විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ මොහොතේ ඉඳලාවත් ළමා අයිතීන්, දරුදරියන්ගේ අයිතීන්, කාන්තා අයිතීන් මේිට වැඩිය ශක්තිමත් කරන්නට, ආරක්ෂා කරන්න නීතිමය සහ වෙනත් ප්‍රතිපාදන නිර්මාණය කරලා අලුත් රැකවරණ රටාවක් අපේ දරුදරියන්ට, කාන්තාවන්ට ලබා දීම රටෙත් අප සියලු දෙනාගේත් රජයේත් යුතුයකම බවට මතක් කරගන්නට කැමතියි.
The central bank has printed 213.48 billion rupees on Tuesday. The central bank data shows that this is the highest amount to be printed by the country so far this year.
The central bank had printed a record 213.48 billion rupees on Tuesday, a day after Sri Lanka settled a $1 billion bond payment. Meanwhile, State Minister Ajit Cabral has said that the country's economy is stable. He had made these remarks during an interview with Al Jazeera yesterday.
Our rupee has been stable for the past 3 months. Our interest rates have been the same for the past 3 months. Now that the lockdown is over, our growth is coming back. People are getting about their business. The stock exchange is having an increase almost every day. Turnovers are very good. What more do you need to have as indicators of stability?
A letter was submitted to the President's Secretariat today seeking a presidential pardon for former parliamentarian Ranjan Ramanayaka. This letter was handed over to the Presidential Secretariat by a group including several artists. We hope that the President will kindly consider our plea and grant a presidential pardon to our loving artist. It is important to have Ranjan Ramanayaka out of prison, especially during these times. We hope that the President will kindly consider this request made by artists in our industry. Reports have emerged that it has been recommended to hand out a 2-year ban each for Dhanushka Gunatilaka and Kusal Mendes, while Niroshan Dikwella would be handed a ban of 18 months from all forms of cricket.
The recommendations have been made by a 5-member committee appointed by Sri Lanka Cricket. The 3 players in question were suspended during the recently concluded Sri Lanka Tour of England on charges of breaching the bio bubble. Accordingly, a 5-member committee comprising retired Judge Nimal Dissanayaka, Counsel Panduka Kirtinanda, Asela Rakava, Uchita Vikramasinghe and retired Major General M.R.W. D'Souza was appointed to conduct an inquiry over the matter. The committee convened at 2 p.m. today. Hence, in addition to the ban, the committee has recommended for the players to be fined $25,000 each. The committee report will be presented to the Executive Committee of Sri Lanka Cricket tomorrow, and based on the constitution of SLC, the Executive Committee will decide on whether the recommendations could be ratified in its original form.
The decisive third encounter of the 3-match T20 series between Sri Lanka and India is currently underway in Colombo with the series levelled. After winning the toss, Indian skipper Shikhar Dhawan opted to bat first. Sri Lanka put on a dominant bowling display, restricting India. That wrap up news for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Sandro Ferdinando, and joining me tonight with our sign language interpretation was Taraka Gabriel. Do take care and good night.